So we'll go Ivy Messers Learning Center and ivymessers.com. And today we're going to look at test 8 section 4, number 14, which reads, which of the following is a value of x for which the expression x squared plus 3x minus 10 is undefined? Notice I highlighted the bottom. Why do I highlight the bottom? Because you got to focus on the bottom. Why do you got to focus on the bottom? Because mathematicians say that the bottom of the fraction cannot be 0. So what do? If we're looking for the value that's undefined, there's actually two methods you could use in order to solve this. One thing is you could take your x squared plus 3x minus 10, and you could set it equal to 0. And then when you solve, the solutions are what the x cannot be, because it'll make it undefined, it'll make the bottom 0. So in this case, what we need is we need two numbers that are going to multiply to give you negative 10 and add to give you a positive 3. Now, when you're working with numbers that are big, we'll do it for this one anyway, but when you're working with numbers that are big, what you want to do is you want to start with around the square root. So in other words, if you've got like 100, you don't want to start with 1 and 100 and then 2 and 50 and so on and so forth. Instead, you'd want to start with 10 and 10 and then work from there to find that find how it would factor correctly. Now, if it's minus 10, you've got to have a positive and a negative. When we look at the middle term, it's positive, so we know that the bigger number has to be positive, but we do need a positive and a negative. So anyway, square root of 10, 3 squared is 9, so it's around 3, but 3 doesn't go in, so we tried 2. And how many times does 2 go in? 2 goes in 5 times, and we said the bigger number has to be negative, so it's going to be 2 and negative 5. So in other words, this would factor as x minus 2 times x plus 5 equals 0. Notice if I FOIL that out, it will give me x squared plus 3x minus 10, but we're not going to FOIL it out. We're just going to continue to factor it. So now we set x minus 2 equal to 0, and we set x plus 5 equal to 0. And then when we add 2 to both sides and we subtract 5 from both sides, cancel, we get x equals 2, which is there, it's D. And we get x equals negative 5, which is not there because I'm not going to put two correct answers there, because then what do you know? All right. The other way. Now let's say you're like, crap, I stink at factoring quadratics. What do? You could use your answer choices. So we'll see what happens when we plug a wrong answer, and we'll see what happens when we plug a right answer in. So if we plug a wrong answer in, let's say so first off, when you're using your answer choices, typically you want to start in the middle. Because if you're too small, then you could eliminate. So let's say I plug in 0. Now there's actually a 50-50 chance of 0 being the correct answer. I mean, not a 50-50 chance, but there's a 50-50 chance that answer choice C is the only answer you'll have to test out. Because if you test out the 0 and it's too small, then you know the answer is D. If you test out the 0, and that's a 1 in 4 chance, it's going to be too small, the answer is going to be D. And then there's a 1 in 4 chance that it's the correct answer. So there's half a chance that that's the only one you have to test out. But even if it's too big, then you eliminate C and D, and then you check A, and either it's right or it's too small and you know it's B, or you check B and it's right or it's too big and you know it's A. So you only ever have to test out two answer choices when you start with one middle answer choices, as long as it's the type of question that you can tell whether you should go big or smaller. So anyway, you plug the 0 in there and you get 0 squared plus 3 times 0 minus 10, and 0 squared is just 0 plus 0 minus 10, and 0 plus 0 is 0 minus 10, and you get negative 10. And you can see that that's too small, so boom, 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 you know the answer is 2. If you want to confirm the answer, 2 squared plus 3 times 2 minus 10, you get 4 plus 6 minus 10, and you get 10 minus 10, which, as you know, is 0. So D2 is your answer. Thank you for joining us today. If you like this video, click like. You can share it with someone who doesn't know that the bottom of the fraction can't be 0, doesn't know what to do in this circumstance, doesn't think of it. Is there any question you'd like to see answered from any official PSAT or SAT or ACT? Leave that in the comments. I'd be happy to shoot a video on it. Click subscribe so you don't miss anything, and check out our 1-minute video on TikTok. Have a great day.